Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're really diving into some fascinating territory today with a book that's causing a stir, especially among those of you in the Red Pill community. It's called Alpha Widows, The Psychological Consequences of Modern Dating by Conrad Riker.
Oh, yeah. This one's definitely a conversation starter.
You know, you actually shared this one with us, and you're really interested in getting a better grasp on how these societal changes, things like shifting sexual norms and the ever-present social media, how they're shaping relationships and kind of creating those unspoken covert contracts that we've talked about before.
Yeah, it's definitely a book that tries to unpack the male experience in modern dating. It challenges a lot of conventional wisdom.
I like where this is going.
So yeah, get ready for some potentially uncomfortable truths.
All right, bring it on.
Yeah.
So the book's central argument here, it all seems to revolve around this concept of the alpha widow.
Mhm.
Can you break that down for us? What exactly are we talking about here?
Absolutely. So the alpha widow, as Riker defines her, is a woman who has had relationships with these high status, often what we call hypogamous alpha males, right?
Okay, so far good.
So the book argues that these past relationships, they kind of create a psychological template, if you will.
Like a blueprint.
Exactly. And it makes it difficult for her to find lasting satisfaction with men she perceives as less dominant or less exciting.
So it's like she's constantly comparing everyone she dates to this like idealized image from her past.
That's the core idea. And Riker uses some vivid examples. One that really stuck with me was Sarah, who ends up marrying Bob, right? Seems like a genuinely good guy, stable, supportive.
Sounds like he's checking all the boxes.
Right. But she just can't shake the memory of her alpha ex constantly measuring Bob against him.
Oof, it's got a sting.
Yeah, it leads to this underlying current of discontent that just erodes their relationship.
Yikes, that does not sound like a healthy dynamic.
Yeah.
And this is where the book delves into that controversial beta cut concept, right? The idea that men end up feeling inadequate in these relationships.
Yeah. I know this term is loaded,
Yeah.
and it can be used in a really demeaning way. But Riker is using it to describe that feeling of emasculation some men experience when they're in relationships with alpha widows.
So it's that feeling of being constantly compared to a ghost from her past who always seems to win.
You got it. Always seems to win.
It sounds like a serious trap for men to fall into. The book also spends a lot of time discussing a woman's sexual history and its impact on her capacity for emotional bonding, doesn't it?
It does. And this is where some of the traditional red pill ideas about hypergamy come into play.
Okay, I'm following along.
So Riker argues that a woman's past experiences, particularly if they involve a higher number of partners, it can make it harder for her to fully bond with a man in a monogamous relationship.
So essentially, it's like her capacity for that deep connection might be diminished.
That's the argument. He talks about the role of oxytocin and how it can be desensitized with repeated exposure to new partners.
Okay, so we're talking about like a biological component here.
Exactly. And this is where he connects it back to those covert contracts that you're interested in. You know how these unspoken expectations play out in relationships?
Right.
And Riker suggests that there's this unspoken expectation that men should just accept a woman's past without question, even if it creates challenges in the present.
I'm already seeing how this book is shaking things up.
Oh yeah. It's definitely pushing some buttons.
It definitely is. So whether you agree with all of his conclusions or not, Riker is forcing us to think about how modern dating dynamics, shaped by shifting social norms, might be impacting the way men and women relate to each other on a fundamental level.
Absolutely. It's like a new set of rules that no one told us about.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's get into the more practical side of things. The book offers some advice for men navigating this modern dating landscape, right? Specifically, it talks about avoiding the beta provider trap. What are some of the key strategies it suggests?
Well, one of the big things that Riker emphasizes is understanding your own value.
Right, knowing your worth.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you have something to offer in a relationship and not settling for a dynamic where you feel like you're constantly giving but not receiving in return.
So it's about setting boundaries,
Yeah.
recognizing those red flags, and having the courage to walk away from relationships that aren't serving you.
Exactly. He highlights examples of men who successfully navigate these challenges. There's John, who starts his own business, and in doing so regains a sense of confidence and respect within his relationship.
So it's a bit of that taking control of your own life can shift the dynamic.
Think about it.
That's a great example. Now, Riker also critiques the role of social media in all of this, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
What's his take?
He argues that social media is creating this culture of Comparison and unrealistic expectations, particular for women. You know, those carefully curated highlight reels we all see online.
Oh, yeah, everyone's living their best life, at least online.
Right. And they fuel dissatisfaction, which feeds right back into that alpha widow dynamic.
Right. Everyone is chasing after an idealized image of the perfect partner that Chad archetype, as the book calls it.
Exactly. And this makes it even harder for men to find a genuine connection in a world where everyone's just swiping left and right, searching for something better.
It's like that instant gratification culture seeping into our love lives.
Yeah, it's tough out there.
So, we've touched on the alpha widow concept, the challenges for men in these relationships, and the ever present influence of social media. What else should we highlight from this first part of the book? What other big ideas are we working with?
Well, I think it's worth noting that Riker spends some time discussing the historical context of relationships, particularly the role of traditional values and how they've shifted over time. You know, he talks about the concept of female hypergamy, the biological drive for women to seek out high status mates.
And how that drive might be amplified in today's hookup culture.
Exactly. He's painting a picture of a society where women are bombarded with images of alpha males and encouraged to embrace casual sex, which can further diminish their capacity for deep emotional bonding.
So, are we moving further away from those traditional values of commitment and monogamy?
That's what Riker argues. And while it's a controversial perspective, it does raise some important questions about how our modern society is shaping the way we view love and relationships, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack for sure.
It really is. Now, I know a lot of listeners, especially those in the red pill community, are really interested in this concept of sexual market value, or SMV for short. Does Riker address that at all?
He does. And it's one of the more controversial aspects of the book.
I bet.
He argues that women's SMV, their perceived value in the dating market, it's influenced by factors like age, physical attractiveness, and yes, even sexual history.
Yeah, that can be a tough pill to swallow for some people,
Yeah.
especially in a society that tells us all women are equally valuable.
Right. But Riker suggests that denying this reality is actually harmful. He argues that it sets women up for disappointment and can contribute to that alpha widow mindset.
So, by acknowledging the reality of SMV, both men and women can make more informed choices about the relationships they pursue.
That's the argument. He says when women are told their value doesn't decline with age or experience, they might cling even tighter to those memories of their high status past partners, leading to more comparisons and dissatisfaction in their current relationships.
So, how does he suggest women navigate this SMV landscape?
He encourages women to be honest with themselves about their own SMV and adjust their expectations accordingly. He argues that women who accept this reality are less likely to chase after an impossible ideal or constantly compare themselves to younger women.
So, it's about being realistic and focusing on building a strong connection with a partner who appreciates you for who you are, not just for your SMV.
Exactly. It's about finding a partner who values you for your character, your personality, your intellect, all those qualities that make you uniquely you.
Now, let's dive into some of the specific advice that Riker offers for men who are looking to avoid becoming beta providers and build healthier relationships. What are some of the key takeaways there?
One of the most important things he emphasizes is the importance of understanding female psychology. He suggests that men need to recognize that women have their own unique needs and desires, and that those needs might not always align with what men are conditioned to believe.
So it's about seeing the world through their eyes and understanding what motivates their choices.
Exactly. He talks about how women are wired for hypergamy, drawn to men who display status, confidence, and resources. And he suggests that men who understand this can use it to their advantage in the dating world.
So it's not about trying to suppress your masculinity or become someone you're not.
Not at all. It's about owning your masculinity, developing your strengths, and becoming the best version of yourself.
And that can look different for every man, right? It's not about fitting into some predefined mold of what an alpha should be.
Absolutely. It's about finding your own unique path to success and fulfillment.
Now, Riker also talks about the importance of recognizing the red flags of an alpha widow, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What are some of the signs that men should be on the lookout for?
One of the biggest red flags is a woman's dating history. If she has a long list of high-status exes, that could be a sign that she's prone to hypergamy and might have difficulty settling down with one man.
So it's about paying attention to her past and seeing if there are any patterns that might suggest she's not ready for a committed relationship.
Exactly. Another red flag is a woman who's constantly comparing you to other men, whether it's her ex's celebrities or even guys she sees on social media.
Ouch. That can be a real blow to the ego.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not a sign of a healthy relationship.
Right. It's a sign that she's not fully present with you and that she's still searching for something better.
So it's about recognizing your worth and walking away from situations where you're not being appreciated or respected.
Exactly. And Riker emphasizes that it's not about being afraid of women or becoming some kind of misogynist. It's about being smart and discerning in your dating choices so you can find a partner who's truly compatible with you and who wants the same things out of a relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about another key piece of advice that Riker offers, the importance of setting boundaries. Why is this so crucial in navigating the modern dating landscape?
Well, in a world where traditional gender roles are being blurred, it can be easy to fall into a dynamic where your needs and desires are being overlooked or dismissed.
Especially for men who've been conditioned to be nice guys and to prioritize women's needs above their own.
Exactly. But Riker argues that this can lead to resentment and ultimately sabotage the relationship. He suggests that men need to be clear about their expectations from the beginning and not be afraid to walk away from situations where their boundaries are being crossed.
So it's about having a spine, knowing your worth, and not letting yourself be walked all over.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that you deserve to be treated with respect just like anyone else.
And how does Riker suggest men go about setting those boundaries?
He recommends being upfront about your needs and expectations early on in the relationship. For example, if you're not comfortable with casual sex, make that clear from the start.
Don't be afraid to have those potentially awkward conversations because they can save you a lot of heartache down the road.
Exactly. And if a woman's not willing to respect your boundaries, then that's a clear sign that she's not the right partner for you.
It's about recognizing that you have the right to choose who you spend your time and energy on.
Exactly. And Riker emphasizes that setting boundaries is not about controlling or manipulating a woman, it's about protecting yourself and ensuring that your needs are being met in a relationship.
It's about creating a dynamic that's healthy and sustainable for both partners.
Precisely. Now, Riker also talks about the importance of cultivating your own high status. What does he mean by that?
It sounds like he's advocating for men to become alpha males, which might be intimidating for some guys who don't naturally fit that mold.
Well, I think it's important to clarify that Riker's definition of high status is broader than just being an alpha male. It's about developing your strengths, pursuing your passions, and becoming the best version of yourself.
So it's not just about physical dominance or financial success. It's about cultivating those qualities that make you attractive and desirable to women.
Exactly. And those qualities can vary depending on the individual. For some men, it might be their sense of humor, their intelligence, their creativity, or their kindness and compassion.
It's about finding what makes you unique and special and then amplifying those qualities.
Precisely. And Riker suggests that by cultivating your own high status, you'll naturally become more attractive to women and you'll be less likely to fall into the trap of becoming a beta provider.
It's about stepping into your power and owning your worth.
Exactly. Now, another piece of advice that Riker offers is to be aware of the signs that you're slipping into that beta provider role.
Yeah.
What are some of the red flags that men should be on the lookout for?
I think this is an important point because it can be easy to gradually fall into this dynamic without even realizing it's happening.
Absolutely.
Right.
And Riker suggests that one of the biggest red flags is when you're constantly giving to your partner, but you're not receiving anything in return.
So it's about recognizing those imbalances in the relationship where you're putting in all the effort, but you're not getting your needs met.
Exactly. Another red flag is when you feel like you're walking on eggshells around your partner, afraid to speak your mind or express your needs for fear of upsetting her.
That's a sign that the power dynamic is off and that you're not being treated as an equal partner in the relationship.
Exactly. And if you're starting to feel resentful, unappreciated, or taken for granted, those are all signs that you might be slipping into the beta provider role.
So what's the antidote? What can men do to break free from this dynamic?
Riker emphasizes the importance of communication. You need to be able to talk to your partner about how you're feeling and what you need from her.
And that can be a tough conversation to have, especially if you're not used to expressing your needs or asserting yourself.
It can be. But Riker suggests that it's essential for building a healthier relationship. And he offers some practical tips for how to approach these conversations in a constructive way.
So it's about finding that balance between being assertive and being respectful.
Exactly. It's about communicating your needs clearly and directly, but also being open to hearing your partner's perspective.
And it's about being willing to walk away if your needs aren't being met.
Exactly. Riker emphasizes that you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved, valued, and appreciated. And if your current relationship isn't providing that, then you have the right to move on.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And I think it's one that a lot of men need to hear. Now, before we wrap up our discussion of alpha widows, I want to touch on one more important aspect of the book. Its exploration of how traditional values and teachings about relationships have changed in recent decades.
Hmm.
It talks about the historical significance of virginity and how that's shifted over time.
Yes, and this is where we start to see those connections between the personal and the societal, how these larger cultural shifts are playing out in our individual lives. The book argues that traditional values emphasizing chastity were tied to this understanding of female psychology that multiple partners could potentially diminish a woman's ability for deep emotional bonding. It's a controversial topic, but I think it's worth exploring.
Absolutely. And the book doesn't shy away from those controversial discussions. It dives headfirst into the concept of female hypergamy, the biological drive for women to seek out high status mates.
And how modern dating culture might be amplifying those instincts.
Exactly. It paints a picture of a society where women are bombarded with images of alpha males, both online and in popular culture, which creates this unattainable ideal and leads to constant comparison and dissatisfaction.
And then they bring that baggage into their current relationships.
Right. So, how do we even begin to address these complex issues? The book seems to suggest that men need to understand these dynamics and adapt their strategies accordingly.
Yes, it emphasizes the importance of self awareness, setting boundaries, and not falling into the trap of becoming a beta provider who's constantly trying to meet unrealistic expectations.
It's about recognizing your own worth and not settling for less than you deserve.
Exactly. And it's about understanding the power dynamics at play in modern relationships and learning how to navigate them in a way that feels authentic and empowering.
So, it's not about trying to become an alpha male yourself, but about finding a balance, asserting your needs, and creating a healthy dynamic.
Precisely. And the book offers some concrete strategies for how to do that, from cultivating your own high status to recognizing the red flags of an alpha widow.
It's a lot to process, but definitely some food for thought. What about you, listeners? What's resonating with you so far?
What I find particularly fascinating is the book's exploration of the role of social media in all of this. It argues that these platforms, while offering connection and entertainment, are also creating a culture of comparison, unrealistic expectations, and a constant striving for something better, which ultimately feeds into this alpha widow dynamic.
It's like we're all caught in this endless scroll of discontent.
Exactly. And the book suggests that this is having a profound impact on both men and women, creating a dating landscape that's more competitive, more superficial, and ultimately less fulfilling.
So, how do we break free from this cycle?
That's the million-dollar question. And the book offers some practical advice from setting boundaries with social media to cultivating a more grounded sense of self-worth that's not dependent on external validation.
It's about recognizing that what we see online is often a carefully curated illusion, not a reflection of reality.
Precisely. And it's about remembering that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from chasing after some unattainable ideal.
It's a powerful message. And I think it's especially important for men who are struggling to find their place in the modern dating world.
I agree. This book, while controversial, offers some valuable insights into the psychology of relationships and the challenges men face in today's society.
It definitely gives us a lot to ponder. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the practical advice the book offers. It spends a significant portion discussing strategies for men to avoid becoming beta providers. What are some of the key takeaways there?
Well, one of the central points is that men need to understand their own value and set clear boundaries in their relationships. This means being assertive, communicating your needs, and not being afraid to walk away if those needs aren't being met.
So it's about having a spine, not letting yourself be walked all over.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that your worth as a man is not solely defined by your ability to provide financially.
Right. It's about your character, your values, your personality, and your overall contribution to the relationship.
Precisely. And the book offers some practical tips for how to cultivate that sense of self-worth and attract women who value you for who you are, not just for what you can offer.
So it's about investing in yourself, pursuing your passions, and developing a strong sense of self-confidence.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that women are often drawn to men who are ambitious driven and have a clear sense of purpose.
That makes sense. It's about being a man who's going places, not just waiting around to be chosen.
Precisely. And the book offers some concrete strategies for how to project that image of confidence and self-assurance that women find irresistible.
It's a lot to take in, but definitely some valuable insights. What about you, listeners? Are you picking up any tips for your own dating game?
I think one of the key takeaways for me is the importance of understanding female psychology. It's not about trying to manipulate or control women, but about recognizing that they have their own unique needs and desires, just like men do.
Right. It's about seeing the world through their eyes and understanding what motivates their choices.
Exactly. And this book offers some fascinating insights into that female perspective, particularly when it comes to their attraction to high status men and their tendency to compare partners to past lovers.
It's definitely a lot to process, but I think that understanding can be incredibly empowering.
I agree. It can help men to navigate the modern dating world with more confidence and clarity, and ultimately to find relationships that are truly fulfilling.
That's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while this book might not have all the answers, it definitely sparks some important conversations and offers some valuable tools for men who are looking for love in the age of alpha widows.
Well said. Now let's talk about one of the most controversial aspects of this book, the concept of female sexual market value, or SMV. It's a term that often sparks heated debate. So let's try to approach it with an open mind and see what insights it might offer.
I think that's a wise approach. SMV is a concept that comes from the red pill community, which, as we've mentioned, can be quite controversial. But essentially, it's about recognizing that a woman's attractiveness, her perceived value in the dating market, is influenced by factors like her age, her physical appearance, and even her sexual history.
So it's like a ranking system based on how desirable a woman is perceived to be.
In a way, yes. And the book argues that this is simply a reality of human nature, a biological fact that we can't ignore.
But isn't that a pretty harsh way to look at relationships?
It can seem that way, especially in a society that tries to promote equality and downplay the role of biological differences. But the book argues that denying this reality actually does more harm than good.
How so?
Well, it suggests that when women are told they can have it all, that their value doesn't decline with age or experience, they're being set up for disappointment.
So it's creating unrealistic expectations that can lead to frustration and resentment.
Exactly. And the book argues that this is one of the factors contributing to the rise of alpha widows women who are clinging to the memories of their high status past partners because they haven't come to terms with the realities of their own SMV.
That's a pretty bleak outlook.
It can seem that way. But the book's message isn't meant to be hopeless. It's about empowering both men and women to understand these dynamics so they can make more informed choices in their relationships.
So it's about accepting the reality of SMV and adjusting your strategies accordingly.
Exactly. And the book offers some specific advice for how to do that, both for men and women.
Let's start with the advice for men. How can they use this understanding of SMV to their advantage in the dating world?
Well, one key point is to be aware of the factors that influence a woman's SMV and to choose partners accordingly. This doesn't mean being superficial or only pursuing women who fit a certain ideal, but it does mean being realistic about the dynamics at play.
So it's about being discerning, recognizing that not all women are created equal in the eyes of the dating market.
Exactly. And it's about understanding that a woman's SMV is not static. It can change over time.
So it's about being aware of the trajectory, recognizing that a woman who might be a 10 today might be a 7 in 5 years.
That's a blunt way to put it, but yes, that's the basic idea. And the book suggests that men who understand this can make smarter choices about who they pursue and how they invest their time and energy.
So it's about playing the game, strategically recognizing the rules, and adapting your moves accordingly.
Exactly. And while it might not be the most romantic way to think about love, the book argues that it's a necessary approach in the modern dating world.
It's about protecting yourself from heartbreak and disappointment.
Precisely. And it's about finding a partner who truly values you for who you are, not just for your SMV or your ability to provide resources.
So it's about seeking out women who are looking for a genuine connection, not just a transaction.
Exactly. And the book offers some practical tips for how to identify those women and build relationships that are based on mutual respect and attraction.
That's a lot to think about, but I think it's an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
What about the advice for women? How does the book suggest they can navigate this SMV landscape?
Well, one key point is to be honest with themselves about their own SMV and to manage their expectations accordingly.
So it's about recognizing that your value in the dating market is not infinite, that it does decline with age and experience.
Exactly. And the book suggests that women who can accept this reality are more likely to find fulfilling relationships
Oh, so
because they're not chasing after an impossible ideal. They're not constantly comparing themselves to younger women or clinging to the memories of their high status past partners.
So it's about being realistic, focusing on your own strengths, and finding a partner who appreciates you for who you are not, for your SMV.
Exactly. And the book offers some practical advice for how to do that, from cultivating your own unique qualities to finding a man who values you for your character and personality, not just your looks or your status.
It's about seeking out a genuine connection, not just a validation of your SMV.
Precisely.
Yeah,
And the book suggests that this is the key to finding lasting happiness in relationships.
it's a powerful message. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground today in our discussion of alpha widows, but before we sign off, what's the one big takeaway you really want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that knowledge is power. By understanding these dynamics at play, you can start making more conscious choices in your own dating life.
Love that. So true. And remember, folks, Alpha Widows is available on Amazon, Kindle, and Google Play Books if you want to dive deeper into these ideas.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It'll get you thinking.
It will. And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the truth.